This is Into the Story, the podcast where you learn English with true stories from all over the world. Stories that connect us and inspire you to get where you want to go. It's your host, Bree, and welcome to another special bonus episode of Into the Story. Usually, I share one person's full story from start to finish, but today we're doing something different. At the end of my interviews, I always ask guests a few quick questions, and I call it the lightning round. It's a great way to learn fun and interesting things about them in just a few minutes. Today, I am sharing the lightning round from my conversation with Araceli Adams. If you missed last week's episode called Trusting the Process, Araceli is a ceramic artist famous for her very beautiful, colorful porcelain platters with marine animals. She also works to protect these species and runs Casa Adams, an award-winning studio in Sydney, Australia. Her work sells out at exhibitions, and she has been featured in many top magazines. By the way, my Master Public Speaking and English course is officially open for enrollment. If you have ever hesitated to speak up in English, you've avoided presentations or interviews, then this is for you. Because the truth is, public speaking is a skill that changes everything, and it opens doors. We start Wednesday, February 26th. So head to intothestorypodcast.com/master for more details and to sign up. All right, let's get into my lightning round conversation with Araceli. In your experience, what is one key communication skill professionals need to connect with their audience, with global audiences?
I think it's just being very genuine to yourself and to craft your message as if you're sharing something cool with a friend, like, have you heard about this place? Instead of, look at me. And I think that's the main difference, sharing something as if it's a benefit to someone else and thinking, how can it benefit their day by learning this thing?
Mm-hmm. And do you listen to podcasts or read books, or what is your medium for getting knowledge?
I do everything. So I listen to many podcasts, I listen to audiobooks, I read books, I look at a lot of art books, I watch documentaries, movies. It's as if I can't get enough of information sometimes.
And what is on your reading list or on your podcast playlist right now that is inspiring you?
I'm reading a really good book written by a Spanish writer called Virginia Feito, and the book is called Mrs. March. And even though she's Spanish, she has written it in English, and it's the story of a lady who is married to a writer, and she discovers that the protagonist of her husband's latest book is based on her, but it's a really awful portrayal of her, and her whole life is just coming undone as a result of that.
So this is fiction?
Yeah, it's fiction.
Okay. Do you find joy in fiction?
I find a lot of joy in fiction. At the same time, I tend to listen to podcasts that are more non-fiction, history-based. I love history podcasts. I think, like a lot of people, I listen to The Rest is History, which is a wonderful podcast run out of the UK.
Okay. Arrested History.
The Rest is History.
Okay.
Yeah, Arrested History.
That could be a different podcast. Okay, The Rest is History. That's an interesting one. I might check that out. Okay. What does your morning routine look like?
Oh, I'm not a morning person. I'm incredibly grumpy and unbearable until I've had a coffee. So my very wonderful husband makes breakfast for the four of us. He makes coffee and toast while I just slowly get out of the rage of having to get up early in the morning. And after that, we sometimes try to go for a bit of a walk before we both go to the studio. I work out of the downstairs part of the studio, and he works remotely out of the top stairs.
And are there any habits that you have, maybe not first thing in the morning, but things that you do before your workday that help you stay creative or focused, or any specific habits that you have?
Not really. I normally just have an ongoing to-do list and I just keep going from that. I plan the week ahead as a week, so I will know what I will be doing that particular day. If it's a making day or a glazing day or a packing day or a painting day, that's all thought of before the week starts.
Do you get overwhelmed easily when you just have a to-do list that never ends?
I do, but that's more in a lead up to a large sale or particularly in the lead up to Christmas. Most ceramicists will stop being sociable by October time and they won't resurface until a couple of days before Christmas.
Okay, and my last question is, what is the worst piece of advice you've ever been given in your career?
To settle for something mediocre just because it's safe.
Okay. Can you tell us more about that? The context of being given that advice?
Yeah, I remember when I was still in Spain, I grew up in La Rioja, which is famous for its red wine, and while I was still doing my degree, I got offered a job, an admin job in one of the wineries, and I remember being told I should accept this job because it's really hard to get a good job in a winery, and the future is great if you stay there, but I couldn't think of anything worse. I wouldn't be able to finish my degree. I wouldn't be able to go and explore the world. There was a real safety in this job, but it just didn't seem right to me. So I decided not to follow it. And yeah, that's the best thing I could have done.
Okay. So you always, if something feels mediocre, don't settle for it. There's something better waiting for you.
I think so. I think so.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Lovely. All right. Well, thank you so much, Araceli. I loved this conversation.
Oh, thank you, Bree.
That's the end of this bonus lightning round with Araceli Adams. I loved her response to the question about the worst advice she's ever received. It's such a great reminder that we don't have to settle for what's safe if it doesn't feel right. Sometimes listening to that gut feeling, that instinct, is the best thing you can do. And hey, before you go, don't forget that my Master Public Speaking and English course starts next week. If you sign up before Friday, February 21st, there are some exclusive bonuses waiting for you. For details and to get your spot, visit intothestorypodcast.com/master. That's it for this special bonus episode. I will be back next week with another incredible story. Until then, I hope you have a good time, or at least a good story to tell.